I've been a Naruto fan for a long time. It was my real first anime. I used to watch it all the time on Toonami. I've had a few volumes of the manga, played most of the games, and I used to watch Shippuden week to week, and I really loved Boruto. For as long as me being a Naruto fan, there have been things I've seen, things I've heard, and one of them is a claim that's been peddling by many YouTubers and general internet personalities with sizable audiences. So let's just get it out of the way. This picture right here, I'm sure you've seen it. Well, I have news for you. This is not Team 7's original design, or even concept design. It never was, and it never will be. Your favorite YouTuber, or the post you saw on Twitter, it's not true. They didn't lie on purpose, but they didn't fact check either. What's annoying about this is that posts that show the actual design of Naruto don't get as much traction as posts peddling this narrative. So today, in this video, I'll be showing you the original Team 7 design and going through Kishimoto's thought process while making them. Also, we'll talk about the Naruto Pilot briefly. But before we go into that, let's get into the origin of this image. So, where does this come from? Well, it was a poster in the first official Naruto fanbook. Kishimoto always does this. This is supplementary art. We see it a lot in the manga. Team 7 as cowboys, Team 7 as samurai, etc. It would be more accurate to say that these are alternate designs for Team 7, because that's what they are. Just like cowboy, samurai, and even school at Team 7. So, what did Team 7 actually look like? Well, here they are. The original Team 7. Not a very big departure from what we have now, right? Exactly. It baffles me that the Naruto manga had sold at least 250 million copies, and this isn't common knowledge. It's in the first 3 volumes of the manga. We need to do better as Naruto fans. It reminds me of that ridiculous Madara could beat Nappa, or Madara is as strong as Nappa quote that people passed around saying Kishimoto said for years. Anytime someone passes these things off as facts, you need to ask them to cite their sources. But moving on from that, now that we know Team 7's original designs, for real this time, let's take a look at Kishimoto's thought process while designing these characters. This is the very first sketch of Naruto that I drew. It was for a one-shot story in Japanese Weekly Shonen Jump's special seasonal edition, Akamaru Jump. Notice that he wears boots instead of zori, traditional Japanese sandals. In the one-shot story, Naruto wasn't a ninja comic at all, but just about magic and sorcery. Even though the setup was completely different from the current storyline, it was the very first character-driven manga that I ever drew, and I liked the character, so I decided to keep using him. But drawing the goggles every time was a pain. That's why I came up with the idea of Ninja Hitayate headband. Moving on to Sasuke. This was the original design for the character of Sasuke. It's hardly changed at all over time. The main difference is the absence of the talisman he wore around his neck. In general, whenever I come up with a new character, my initial impulse is to use as much line and ornamentation as possible, until the visual concept is in danger of becoming lost amid the busy little details. This is especially true for principal characters. I get so caught up in what I'm doing with them. I make things a little too difficult for myself, until I finally had the sense to step back and ask myself, am I really going to be able to draw such a fussy, complicated character over and over, panel after panel, and issue after issue, week in and week out? There were far too much going on visually with Sasuke, and too many lines overall, so I simply made him into a good basic contrast to Naruto's visual image. Sasuke is a particular challenge for me to draw even now, because he is a young and rather pretty boy. But if I'm not careful, he loses his youthful quality, and I end up drawing him like a much older boy or a grown man. I never had a character like him in one of my comics before. That kind of boy on the cusp of manhood, who's somehow matured and handsome beyond his years. Keeping the visual consistently right makes him the character who takes the most work and energy from me. Maybe that's why he's become my favorite character. This was how I first imagined Sakura. Let's face it, she's really not cute, is she? Especially back then. But that was mostly because I'm not that good with female characters in general. So making one of them cute is always a big challenge for me. When my editor, those around me, and even my own staff saw the design and read her personality profile, they all assured me that Sakura was far from cute. but I have my own reasons for being especially fond of Sakura, both in her design and her personality. I believe everyone possesses an inner Sakura type voice in their heart, including things like her entirely arbitrary voice of love object. I think it gives her a real humanity that's pretty sweet. There's a lot more to being a good female manga character than just cuteness, you know. At least that's my excuse. The troublemakers in Kumajin I can draw without breaking a sweat, but girls are really hard. Well, there you have it. Kishimoto's original thought process and his original designs for the 3 titular characters of Naruto. Okay, before we wrap this video up, let's take a look at the Naruto Pilot and how it differs from the story that we've come to know today. So the original story of Naruto, our main protagonist Naruto himself was the son of the nine-tailed fox. He could also shapeshift, not dissimilar from the transformation jutsu. As Kishimoto stated earlier, this was more so about sorcery than anything else. And well, the original Naruto's jutsus aren't far from ninja magic as people called him. The person who looked after Naruto, who I suppose would later become Hiruzen, looks exactly like Haruno. So we see here Kishimoto's earlier designs coming back full circle into the main series. In fact, the overall story of this pilot isn't too dissimilar to what we see in Naruto's first chapter. A lot of the ideas Kishimoto recycled and played around with that led to the creation of the series we all love today. However, instead of Naruto trying to get a scroll, he gets a painting here. There's a similar structure to the story, but things played out very differently. And with that, I think it's time this video needs to come to a close. Wasn't much I had to say, but I just want to clear up this misinformation that's been spread so many times. Hopefully this video blows up, and people, more people learn the truth. Next time someone claims that this is the original Team 7 concept, point them in the direction of the manga, or send them to this video. It'll help me out a lot. Anyway, if you like this video and you want to hear me talk about Naruto more, because believe me, I will, like this video, don't forget to leave a comment on your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe. I'm Grimtoki, this has been Beyond Animation, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.